Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be doing a book haul of all of the books that I bought in July, August and September. So I am not the biggest book buyer. I try and limit how much I'm spending on books, but I do obviously buy some. We're gonna get straight into this though. So the first book that I have hauled in the past 3 months is Dark Dawn by Jay Kristoff. This is the final book in the Nevernight Chronicles, I believe it's called. So the Nevernight Chronicles follows Mia Corvair. When she was young, her father tried to plan a rebellion which failed, and he was put to death and she was made to watch. And then her mother and her brother were taken and put in prison. Mia managed to escape and she has spent the rest of her days just trying to get revenge for the people who killed her family. And so in the first book we follow her going to an assassin school. So I haven't read this yet. I have read the first and second books, so I will be getting to this soon hopefully. And the good thing about this is it does get it gives you a recap in the front of them. It tells you what each character did in the previous books. So that is handy. Book number 2 that I hauled was Supernova by Marissa Meyer. So this is the final book in the Renegades trilogy and I have read this. I read it in July, I believe. So if you want my thoughts, check out my July wrap up. So the Renegades trilogy is set in a world where superheroes and supervillains exist. Basically an event happened and then all of a sudden people just started getting superpowers. Follows 2 of them. Nova was raised by anarchists and she believes that the Renegades are to blame for her family's deaths because they promised to protect them and they failed. And then Adrian is the adopted son of 2 of the leaders of the Renegades, and when Nova decides to go undercover in the Renegades, she meets Adrian and stuff happens. I'm so good at giving summaries. And then book number 3 was The Near Witch by V.E. Schwab. Beautiful sprayed edges. I say that every time I hold this book up because I have to. I bought this because this was the last V.E. Schwab book I needed and I did actually read it. I read it in August, so you can check my August wrap up for that. This follows a teen called Lexi, and Lexi lives in Near. Near is a very close-knit community and then a stranger shows up and they're not the biggest fans of strangers, but when children start to go missing the next night, the blame immediately falls on the stranger, but Lexi doesn't believe that it's that simple and that there could be something more dangerous and something maybe even pulled from children's bedtime stories could be to blame. Then book number 4 that I hauled in recent months is Loveless by Alice Oseman. I bought this. I pre-ordered this because I was so excited. Radio Silence is one of my all-time favorite books and I had to pick this up immediately, which I did. I have read this book. So this follows Georgia as she's headed off to university. She has never had a crush, been in love, had her first kiss, but she's obsessed with love. She wants that ideal story that her parents have and that her brothers have. And so while going to university, she decides, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to fall in love. But when her plan to fall in love starts causing havoc in her friend group, she starts to question why romance doesn't come so easy for her. Why doesn't she feel the same way her friends do? And it's just her trying to discover her identity and all of that. The next book is Unravel the Dusk, which is the sequel to Spend the Dawn. I had this pre-ordered. So yeah, so this was a pre-order and I read it pretty much as soon as I got it. Mia dreams of being a tailor, but a tailor is a man's job. When a message comes to say that the Emperor is looking for a new tailor and that her father or one of her brothers has been invited to participate to compete to become the next imperial tailor. Maya sees this as her chance and she takes it and she dresses up as her brother and goes to the castle and sets off on a journey to become the next imperial tailor. So then the next 3 books are all in the same series. So that is the Winternight trilogy by Catherine Arden, which is The Bear and the Nightingale, The Girl in the Tower, and The Winter of the Witch. So I haven't read these 2, but I have read The Bear and the Nightingale. And I'm very excited to continue the series. So The Bear and the Nightingale, this follows Vasya, who is a young girl who can see spirits. She honors these spirits and befriends them, and they in return keep her household safe. But when her father remarries a devout Christian woman, she bans people in the town from leaving any sort of gift to these spirits, and so they start to die off. and without them to protect them, a dark force begins to grow, and it's up to Vasya to try and save her people. So excited to read the rest, and I will be getting to them as soon as I can. So yeah, so those were the next 3. And so then these next 3, not in a series, but the next 3 I actually all bought in the one day, so I went a little mad there. And so that was Nick and Charlie by Alice Oseman. I had already read this as an ebook, but I knew that the paperback version had some changes made to it, and I enjoyed the stories. I enjoyed the story the first time I read it, and I enjoyed it the second time I read it, and I did enjoy the changes that were made. And then this also includes some little doodles and stuff in it. So this is just a short story that follows Nick and Charlie, who are in Solitaire and also in Heartstopper. So this takes place probably like 2 years after Heartstopper and about a year-ish after Solitaire. And Nick is getting ready to leave for university, and Charlie is being left behind because he still has 1 more year in school. And it's just them as they realize, like, how are we going to do this? Like, are we going to break up? Are we going to do it long distance? And how will long distance work? The second book that I bought that day, which is a blind up of 3, is the Everyday Angel collection by Victoria Schwab. This is her middle grade series, one of her middle grade series. So yeah, so it's a pretty thick book, but it has 3 stories in there, and it follows a guardian angel called Aria, and she can walk through her shadow, and it takes her to girls who need her help. And when she helps all 3 girls, she gets her wings and is officially a guardian angel. Like, if you have like any like younger sisters or anything, they're like really cute and should read them. Like, it had me nostalgia, and I didn't even read it when I was younger. But it's just like that feeling of youth. I don't know what book I'm on. It doesn't matter. So then the last book I bought the same day as I bought Nick and Charlie and the Everyday Angel collection was Beartown by Frederick Backman. I haven't read this yet. I'm planning on reading it soon. I honestly don't really know what this is about. I do think that there's a sexual assault in it, so trigger warning for that. And I think it takes place in a hockey town, and is it like a hockey player that does it or something? Yeah, and so it kind of divides the town and all of that. So I've heard that this is a really hard-hitting book, and I had only actually heard of this recently enough, and I was just like, that sounds heartbreaking. I'm going to read it. And so then I also got The Lost Book of the White by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu. This is the edition with purple sprayed edges, which is nice. So I'm still mad about the cover change. I will not shut up about it. I preferred the first cover, and this is the paperback. So I don't have the reversible cover. So this takes place in between the end of the Mortal Instruments and before the start of like Lady Midnight and all that. I think it's about a year-ish after the events of City of Heavenly Fire, and then kind of I think a couple months after the end of the Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy. And Magnus and Alec are settling into their, you know, little family life when some people break in and they steal the Book of the White. During the struggle, Magnus is stabbed by a magical weapon, and so they have to head to Shanghai to try and track down this book and figure out what is happening. So that is all of the books that I bought, but I did also pre-order the Waterstones exclusive cover of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. It is absolutely beautiful, and it comes out sometime in October, so I will get it then. And so I'm obviously not going to have it before the end of September, but I did technically buy it in the past 3 months. You'll get to see it in my October, November, December one. Those are all of the books that I have bought in the past 3 months. I feel like my book buying habits are getting worse. Tell me, have you read any of these books? I have read most of them, which yay for me, keeping on top of the books that I'm buying. And I will hopefully be reading the majority of them soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this awkward attempted video. If you did, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!